What if I could show you a little concept to start applying into your practice routine that would double the speed you learn things, double your retention, and have you playing things way outside your comfort zone that you never thought possible? Too good to be true? Nope. Stay tuned. All right, Terrio back at you. Thanks for tuning in. Today I'm going to talk about a concept, a little way of thinking that you could incorporate into your practice schedule that, like I said, as advertised, I think it would double your rate of learning, the speed, the quickness, the retention, have fun, and you tackle some pretty crazy stuff if you wanted to. I've used this to play all kinds of things over my career, and I still use it when I'm faced with some challenging things. Anytime I want to learn something, I try to do this. And what that is breaking it down into bite-sized chunks. Some people call it chunking. I don't like that word. You probably figure out why, but call it what you want. And before you go, yeah, this is common sense. Sure it is, but it works. And I probably bet that a lot of you guys out there never do it. Maybe you know about it, but you don't apply it or you don't do it consistently. Okay, so first off, in this day and age of YouTube, like right now, there's more information you could shake a stick at. They got modes and voicings and anything you could think of. There's a million guys teaching variations on it. The problem is not information. We have information overload. And when you finally figure out what it is you want to learn, how do you learn it? This is what I'm going to tell you, right? How to break it down. Say you're a beginner guitar player, all right? And you see somebody play this lick on YouTube or wherever, right? And you're like, man, that's so cool. I want to be able to do that. Now, I'm just using that for the sake of my illustration. I'm not trying to teach you a fancy lick, or if you're an advanced player, go, oh, I could play that. I'm sure you can. But let's pretend you're a beginner. There's a lot of things going on there. Even though it's a basic blues pentatonic lick, there's a lot of calculations going on if you're a beginner. How do you learn that? If I was going to teach you how to play that lick, which I'm going to do now, so you're going to get some bonus licks out of this, but I want you to take away the concept, all right? This is how I would do it. I would break that up into bite-sized pieces. That lick, simple, short lick, I would break that up into 3 bite-sized chunks. First one being I would get that down. If I was teaching myself out of a book or whatever, I would pick the first 3 notes and I would play it to where it was impossible for me to screw that up. And first I would spend time on that till I owned it, till I could play it in my sleep. Every fingering. Okay, so I'm going up, down, pull off. Feel that, get it into your DNA. I'm talking about really going overboard and making sure you nail that and don't overlook it. Then we move to the next step, which would be, now you could make a little mental note in your head and go, oh, that's a little Chuck Berry. Get the notes speaking, get the bend, nice and whole steppish. Spend some time on that. Don't just blow over it and try to play it all at one time. There's a lot of things going on there, like to prove my point. Think about, to use an analogy, not a great analogy, but it's an analogy. If you're driving on the freeway and somebody texts you and you got your map thing on and you're trying to do this and that and like change the temperature or the heater or whatever. I mean, you can't focus on all that stuff at one time. It's the same thing when we're learning a new piece of music, some new material. Our brain has to process the right hand, the pull off, which fingering should I use, the dynamics, the technique. When you break it down into things that you cannot screw up, then you reassemble it. That's the way to do it. All right, so we have part 1, part 2, and part 3 would be, so it'd be a pull off, a bend. Now you really own that. It's part of you. You're not going to screw it up trying to fumble for the note, third note in, this and that, because you tried to bumble your way through the whole lick. Let me give you an example, another example, using chords. Say you want to learn chords. Say you saw Alan Holdsworth play this nice, juicy E major 7. Ooh, I want to learn that. But it's really tricky. I have to keep doing this, and I never can get it right. I'll give you a tip about chords. Just take a second. Forget the right hand. Forget your picking hand if you're left-handed. Just study your hands. Study where the notes are. Make a mental note. Visualize that shape. Don't underestimate it. Take a minute or two, maybe more if you need to. Really study it. Know where every finger is. Then take your hand off and place it back on as fast as you can. I call it the catch and release technique. Try to do it as fast as you can without your right hand. We're not even messing with that yet. See, I can do that, and it's there. That is going to shave so much time off of you learning chords. It works with any kind of chord. You can use it, trust me, or your money back. But this is free, so there you go. All right, let me give you one more example. Applied to scales. Say you're learning your scales. Say you got a little, tricky one like A melodic minor. That's a little bit of an oddball, right? Because there's a lot of there's fingerings that don't really relate to one another. It's not as simple as Dorian or major scale. It's got some curveballs in there. Same thing. Break it down into 2 strings at a time. Just isolate, and master. That's the mantra. Isolate and master it. Make it to where you can't screw up. If you need less than that, just work on one. There's actually another note down here. Just work on that. Get that together. You might not even use your right hand at first. Just get the notes together first. And it doesn't take as long as you think. If you do this, you're saying, well, it takes longer. No, it doesn't. Actually, it speeds it up because you're eliminating all these mistakes and you're programming the right stuff in your head. You ever learn something the wrong way and have to try to unlearn it? That's crazy. It's so weird the way your brain wires that in. You want to make sure you wire it in correctly the first time. This is how you do it. Then you add the second group of strings, and you add the third. I've used this for so many things. I've used it to play really difficult music, projects I've been involved in where I had to shed some really hard parts. And, I didn't sight read it or learn it overnight. I took my time, a couple of days, chunked it, bite-sized pieces. You'd be amazed what you can do. You can play Frank Zappa level stuff. You take one piece at a time. Did this with some Bach cello etudes and just take a little bit at a time and add to it. You'll be amazed what that'll do for your playing. I hope you got something out of this today. Give me a like, subscribe if you did. Hey, I'll see you next time. Terrio out.